Give you a little update on our tunnel. This is our old layer flock. They're going to be moving on to their new home pretty soon. They'll be delighted with that. Hopefully, well, rather than going to be culled, they're going on to, they'll live out, they'll do another summer for sure of production back out to green grass whenever the bird flu ban is lifted. Got all my cuttings in here. They're starting to put on, a lot of them are putting on leaves, so hopefully now they'll start to develop some roots. And I picked up some, I was up in the forest one day and these were just growing in the road, little they're Silka spruce, little starts. These are some blueberries I bought. This is all stuff I propagated myself. I also got in some strawberries. My plan is actually this year maybe to fill up some of these crates, veg crates, with compost and hang them, leave them in the polytunnel, hang them off here, maybe hang 6 of them along here, like hanging basket style, and grow some tomatoes that way, or not tomatoes, strawberries. That's my grapevines. They need to go in the tunnel here. These are some raspberries I bought, bare root stock, and just potted them up. There are actually some cranberries there. I'm going to try them just for a laugh. And yeah, just playing about and messing with different stuff. Happy with how they're coming along. Just up at the other farm, I was off fishing all day. And this girl just had a set of twins. So I'd be afraid of the fox coming along tonight and the cold. So I'm going to have to go and get the trailer and come back and take these guys home just till they get a couple of days under them, and then they'll be fine. But that's what I like about these, we call them horn joes or Scotch face joes. They're really easy lambers and they're 2 lovely lambs. Good job, mama. I'm just up at the farm too here with the goats and sheep, and I'm giving them relatively small paddocks and we're staying in them for 2 days. So I'm trying to clean this up as best I can for spring growth to come with some kind of thatchy grasses. So, and my problem is I've just thrown them in. This is our second day in this paddock here now. I've just thrown in a couple of flakes of hay because 5 minutes away from this farm I come here twice a day, and by keeping them a wee bit tighter than I normally would, the goats get hungry. So by the end of the second day there's a good chance they'll try and break out. So on the second day in the morning I give them a little bit of hay, and that seems to keep them content and they eat it a wee bit tighter. The goats will go around and nibble on a lot of the rushes. You can see here where the goats have been nibbling on them. But it's kind of a fine line. If you push it too tight and kind of keep them on the rougher stuff, they will get hungry and then they'll jump out. And there's no perimeter fence in this farm, so I just got to be mindful of that. So this is working so far. Just moved these guys again this morning, and you can see here I'm starting to get the herd effect I'm looking for. You can see how the pasture's been indented. I've done that by turning my biggest problem into a solution. So moisture, precipitation, waterlogged soil is my biggest problem really here, or my limiting factor. I don't see it as a problem, it's my limiting factor due to broken water cycles and a lot of precipitation. So by timing it in spring and autumn, as the soil starts to dry out or retain moisture, when it's at a point, I can use the goats and sheep to really impact it and like massage it almost, where I'm just hitting the top couple of inches, like maybe 2 inches, if even that. I'm really massaging, working the soil and really getting what I think is that herd effect of a massive herd. And so through timing and management with a small herd like this, there's a few points in the year where I can really practice it, and I try to utilize that. And these guys are on every 2-day moves now. Generally, kind of roughly my grazing pattern works. In the middle of winter we move every 3 days. Where are they? There they are. In the middle of winter we move every 3 days. Spring and autumn we're moving every 2 days. And then for the majority of, like when we're into spring, I say early spring is 2 days, late autumn is 2 days. Then when growth starts, and for the whole growth cycle, we're moving every day. And that's been working really well for us. It's been working really well in this really overgrazed, degraded
paddock here, and I'm seeing lots of improvement in it, so I'm really happy with how it's going. Baby lambs are back out. They're 2 days old now. What I actually will do is I need to go and fish it out, but I'm going to use my netting for a few weeks now, particularly when these guys here start to kid and lamb. One, it trains the babies, because the babies can just walk out under that. It trains them to stay in, and actually sometimes I use chicken netting in the early days, because the lambs can still kind of walk through the sheep netting a little bit when they're really small. And two, it's better protection for the fox. The fox can scoot onto that, no problem. Now these mamas, and particularly with goats in, goats are generally very protective mamas, and these horned Scotch sheep are really protective mamas, and the lambs are also now pretty fast, so I'm not worried about the fox anymore. But a good secondary would be to get my sheep or my poultry netting up around them for a few weeks as well. It's a bit more work putting it out, but I suppose it's worth it in the long term if you save a few lambs, isn't it? You can see some of the honeyberries, and they're flower out early. These are early producing honeyberries, so they get their flowers on pretty early and get pollinated. It's a little cold yet, the bees aren't that active, but they'll stay in flower over the next couple of weeks and they'll get covered. Just in with our new layers here, and they're doing really well. I just want to talk about this feeder that I made. I think maybe the only or the best word to describe it is game changer. It's absolutely changed the way I do pasture layers, the time commitment. Definitely should have done this a long time ago. They have access to feed all the time. I fill it once every about 5 days, and it just frees me up. You know, the layers were on reflection, they were like a ball and chain, where I had to be here, you know, 2 or 3 times a day, whatever many times I was feeding. And you know, the regulations would say that this feeder is nowhere near ample to feed these birds, but yet does anybody see a stressed bird looking for feed? This is an 8-foot long feeder on both sides, and I was going to make another one. I don't think I need to, because I never see them stressed out where it's all full, because they have access all day. They're just, whenever they're hungry, you go and peck on it. So that was a really good move, I think, and it's going to make my summer very easy. This is my latest addition to the farm. There's a little 14-foot almost fiberglass boat, and just going to use it for fishing mainly. It's got a little 6 horsepower 4-stroke in the back. It's only going to be, I'm going to be sea fishing, but only really in fair weather, so it's going to be perfect for that. Can't wait to get it on the water. I didn't do, well, I done a little bit with it. I put in a battery, put my fish finder in there, and done a few other jobs. There's a little bilge pump was on here, but the non-return valve was all seized up in it, so I need to fix that up. But the motor runs great, and yeah, some oars there. I hope I'm never using them. But sunbeam, can't wait to get this little girl out and do a spot of fishing. Just got the wee boat pushed into the workshop here. We had it out yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. It was a beautiful morning, and she is a lovely little boat. No leaks. She's dry as a bone. Perfect for me and Neve to go out, or me on my own fishing. A few wee jobs I want to do now. I just want to kit it out with all my own stuff. Get my fish finder, some rod holders, get some fenders. I was just trying to figure out where I put my fenders, particularly when I'm launching it on my own. I've got to tie it on to the pier wall. I want to get some fenders on it. It does have a rubber push bar, but the rubber's quite hard in that, so it'll be good to get some fenders on there just to protect it. Probably will, maybe next winter, clean this paint up, give it a new coat of paint, and maybe give it a new name, but for now she'll be the Sunbeam. The other thing I've done is a little 6 horsepower outboard. The guy that had it was actually a young Polish guy who owned it before me, and he took really good care of it. But I've just ordered, I'm going to do full maintenance service on this: oils, gearbox oil, gear oil, engine oil, get everything changed over. But it had it out yesterday, didn't work it too hard, and it didn't miss a beat. Hoping maybe to get a little electric motor for it as well, so that when I'm fishing, rather than having to start up the outboard, if I'm just trying to, you know, reposition a drift or whatever, get a little electric outboard. That'll be handy for just trawling and fishing. I've been doing a bit of work in the evenings on my wee boat, and I've got it pretty much rigged up all the way I want. Got a new bilge pump, got some rod holders where I want them. I've done a full service on the outboard. I've also ordered a little electric powered, 12-volt powered, like a trolling motor that I'll sit on here. It's going to be for when I'm just drift fishing, for positioning the boat, and also as kind of a backup in case anything ever happened to the outboard. And then as a backup to that, we've got the oars. I don't really intend using them. Got everything, got my anchor, got an anchor set up for it, and all in the stowed there. I'm playing about here now with the solar panel, because if I want to go fishing for like 6 or 8 hours and I want to use the electric motor a lot, I wanted to put a little solar panel on. Got a little, I think I've got a 70 amp hour battery up there, so I'm just playing about with this. If I like the solar system, I'll tidy up these wires and put the charge controller somewhere I can use it. Got all my gear, my cooler box, landing net, ropes, fenders, life jackets, fishing tackle, everything I need here. I think I've got it pretty much set up. I've added some cleats as well, for when taking the boat off the trailer and just tying it up to the dock. And this thing, I think I did get a big solar panel for this, but it just looked too horrendous, so I think I'm going to use this maybe, and only put it out whenever I need it, put it on the roof here, and when I'm not using it I can stow it away inside again. I think that might work. I'll give it a go. Got my fish finder on, and I fitted my transducer in the back here, so that should all work good, and hopefully we'll get her out this evening for a bit of a spin, because it's difficult to see, but the water is just lovely and calm down there. There's very little wind today. I'm just out in the boat here. It's really calm, a little bit overcast, but the water's really nice and calm. There's not much rolling. It's not a great time of year for fishing. It's pretty quiet this time of year. You might get some pollock or coley, mainly cod family fish, but I suppose it's more about getting out and just getting some time to clear your head. A few things have been kind of getting sussed out on the farm. When I started to really look into doing the farm tour, and after a while I came to the realization that I have too many responsibilities. It's really, I'm not 20 something anymore. It's really a job for someone that's got carefree early 20s traveling around. So I think I'm not going to do so much that. I might travel around some of my friends, but just the time and the input, and it just doesn't fit me right now. So I'd like to do it, but I suppose it's more of a romantic notion than anything. When I look at the realities of it, it's just doesn't make sense, I suppose. So hopefully I'll get around some farms, but I'm not going to go on a mad spree all summer. Just getting the farm kind of where I want it to be now. I've got the layers almost dialed in. I'm just waiting now for the housing order to be lifted and get them out in pasture. Our new layers are settled in well, they're starting to lay. And I've got 5 Dexter bullocks coming in a couple of weeks. I'm actually heading off on holidays. I'm heading for a week skiing, and then when I come back from holidays I'm going to pick them up. And we've got our sheep and our goats, and yeah, that's kind of the plan. I've slowed the farm down, just by pure virtue, but my issue is too that I don't want to be too slow. So another project's actually come up off the farm. It'll be a couple of days a week, and I think I might go for that. It's something I've been really interested in for quite a few years, and I never thought really the opportunity would come up, and it has come up. So I might pursue that for a little bit, and yeah, and just keep my farm. Like, I'd really like the farm to be, the work hours to be around 10 hours a week, and then I'll be homesteading with my veg and stuff like that for maybe another 10 hours, and then cool, I've got more free time. My problem is if I have too much free time I start dreaming up all these crazy ideas, and so I need to try and not let that happen too much. So that's kind of where my thoughts are at the minute. And yeah, I'm going to keep fishing here, maybe move on down, give you a look at the boat. So it's very straightforward. This is my little fish finder. So you can see there we're in almost 16 foot of water. I'm just swaying around. I'm actually on anchor now. See that there's something coming past there now at the bottom. Some sort of little fish, I'd say, because I don't think it's any seaweed. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I got my rods and I'm actually on anchor at the minute, so you can see the anchor's just holding us there. And what I might do now is actually go do a bit of prospecting. This is when I come out in the kayak. I actually come out from that beach there, and I normally fish around here, so I'm fishing around where the areas I know. But I know by looking at maps, the seabed here is about, on the shallow side, it's like 15 foot with rough rocks, and then it goes down to sandy, muddy bottom at about 30 foot. But on out there another bit, it tends to drop off to 60 foot. So I might just take a trip out there to see exactly how far out it drops off at 60 foot. But I love my little boat. I have to say, it's my first boat, and it's just dead handy. I like this because if it's raining, I can huddle in there and stay dry if I zoom you out. It also keeps all my stuff dry. But yeah, happy out. We're not taking on any water, but my new bilge pumps all good. And yeah, I'm gonna fire the shook up and rock on.